Hello, this is Crypto CJ. It's Trade of the Day, Monday afternoon slash evening Zoom edition, and we've had a nice recovery today. Bitcoin has held 40K over the weekend, broke 42 and broke 43 today. So we're up about 2.5% on Bitcoin, about the same on Ethereum. The news is kind of light, not much going on. Still some more ETF stuff that's growing. There was some fee reduction on the ETF entry that might have stimulated a little bit, and there was Google's allowing ETF ads. Google doesn't isn't a real big fan of crypto, doesn't really allow crypto ads generally, but they're allowing ETF ads. Maybe that pushed it, or maybe it was just you know a coincidence. Who knows? But let's go to the Bitcoin chart and take a look. Okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart. I will assume you are. Let's see. We are heading back towards the top of my zone here on the day chart, 45K. As you can see, we're over 43, and Bitcoin has closed in the on the Eastern time zone for us in the U.S. Still open here, so we'll see if that 43K holds. If it does, wouldn't surprise me if we had a small retrace tomorrow. And then maybe we keep on going. There's been a lot of prediction of dipping back into this 35 to 38 zone on Bitcoin. But as we discussed in some detail on Friday, this 40K-ish area has held pretty nicely. I mean, we hit 39.5 for a few days, but it didn't last. Then we got this nice pump on Friday, or that was Saturday, actually. No, that's Friday. And then held over the weekend, like I said. So Bitcoin's looking pretty good. Ethereum about the same. This 2150 area is held as support, since early December, and then it really didn't even break 2200 very long. So, and you can see now we're at 2300. Like to get back up to 2500, and then break up towards the top of my zone here at 3000. Well, that's the news in a few minutes. Anyone else have anything to add or discuss or contemplate before we head over to Altcoin Alert and iCoinPro to find some day trades and some swing trades? Very well. Let's head over there, and I'm going to share my screen. On Friday, we discussed how we can use the Slack alerts to get into some trades. And so I'm going to bring up something I talked about and actually utilize this morning. So you're seeing my AA score Slack page. Okay, I'll assume yes. And we're going to look at the Woo network. This is something I trade as a day trading a coin because it does a lot of this. It's nice and active. I can pick up my 1% pretty easily. And as you can see, this alert came out 2:45 on Sunday morning. And shout out to Nancy. We were talking on Friday about, hey, CJ, why don't we just wait till, like this 12-hour point, since it's negative, and it makes sense to wait longer before you get in and and miss that dip. So thought, that's a pretty good idea. So I looked at these this morning. I mean, it was beyond 12 hours when I got in. It was around, I don't know, 8 in the morning my time, but I was still seeing like 24 hours at this average 5.43%, 48 hours over 8%, 72 over 9. So I took a quick look at my Woo chart on my swing trade setup. Yeah, we'll look at that real quick. So that's over here. Yeah, we should be on my 1-hour Woo chart. And this should look familiar to you. This is my basic swing trade setup. And I was looking at this right about here, 8 in the morning. So this is what I was seeing. As you can see, we got plenty of room to get up here to the top zone. So that was appealing to me. 12% up to that zone, and I was actually a little chubbier at the time. It was down, it's around 9% was the bottom of it. So that's my goal on this trade, 9%, and I'm up about 5% at the moment. I got in right about here. Yeah, and I'm maybe 4% now. It's dipped a little bit. So I'm holding out. I'm looking for that 48-hour to 72-hour trade. I mean, sooner is better, but I'll pick up a 9%. And on this particular trade, I think I'm at 5x leverage, so that should be a pretty good one. And Nancy was asking, where does one trade this coin? So you can type anywhere and put USD. And you're right, Nancy, it's not on Coinbase, looks like. So Kraken, I don't know how friendly they are to the US. They used to be fairly accessible. This says crypto. I think that's crypto.com. I'm not sure. But, if you want to, I thought it was on MEXC as well. Let's add a T. And all right, we got KuCoin, MEXC, which I believe you can access from the US, maybe with a VPN. I know that the guys at CryptNation aren't always fans at some of these kind of exchanges, but I think with a small amount of money, if that's in your comfort zone, then feel free to trade on those. And a friend of mine who I respect trades on OKX a lot. So anyway, for whatever that's worth, you can find this coin there. If you're going to be day trading with any frequency, there's probably some value in obviously setting up a Coinbase account and then trying to get on a couple of these other foreign exchanges using a VPN. And then there's if you're really serious, there's the Palu ID, digital ID. You can email me about that and I can let you know how that works. So any questions on the Woo trade based on the Slack alert?
So do you also go to Altcoin Alert and see if it's bullish or not?
Well, no, I know it's bullish from that. Oh, if it's still bullish, you mean? Or,
So
I
did you
mean,
just look at the Slack report
yeah, I just looked at the
or
Slack
did
report and I wanted to look at
okay.
support and resistance. So, this morning when I saw that and I saw how much room I had, see how this was back here, not that long ago, all the way up to 40 cents. So I had a big dump down, lost about, a quarter of its value, and then it's working its way back up. So these are the kind of retraces I like, where it's been, 25, 20% higher recently. So those are ones that can bounce back pretty quickly. No guarantees, of course, but yeah. Okay, I got a chat request. Okay, Marshall wants to know, where can I find out how to get the Slack alerts? I did discuss this on Friday with Oliver was asking about this. And
Is that not Altcoin Alert?
yeah, I believe if you go
Um,
to the support videos on Altcoin Alert, it'll go over that. So I'm not sure which one does. Support video, Slack notifications. It's probably in this area on your Altcoin Alert support videos. So if you have any questions about it, email me at cryptocj13@gmail.com and I'll help you out. Okay. And all right, so let's go to Altcoin Alert and see if we can find some day trades for now. I'm on the Altcoin radar setting. I want all the columns of information. I'm going to start with my AA score. Looking for values 80 or higher, or at least pretty close. And I was looking at this earlier, CFX. I didn't really have anything I liked this morning, but the market's improved considerably since then. Excuse me. Let's look at CFX. I'll evaluate this as a day trade. So I'm just looking for a 1% move at 5x or 10x leverage. If you're trading on spot, you can go for 2 or 3% move if the chart indicates that, and pile up those small wins, and your balance can increase pretty quickly. So I'm on the CFX 15-minute chart. Let's take a quick look at the 5, see if we're in a dip sequence. If you're on my email list, you should have received the iCoinPro email about how to trade and evaluate 1, 2, 3 dips. This one is dipping, but it's not the format we usually like to see. In their teaching iCoinPro, you get the squeeze, kind of sort of like this with these Bollinger Bands squeezing together, and then a bubble, and then it dips preferably 3 times below this bottom Bollinger Band, and then starts to come back up, and that's when you get in. I'm going to show you another way and how to pick up those kind of trades. But at the moment, almost none of these broke the Bollinger Band. This is kind of unusual. Usually a few of these break down and come back up. But this isn't really a very good setup for what I'm talking about. So if you want to try to catch this on a continuing dip and a retrace, you can set a price alert right about here towards the bottom of the green zone and right around 23 cents. Right click, add your alert. Crossing 0.2335. I usually use the alert name or the information source for the alert name, AA score. And if you type this a few times, and TradingView will remember. There you go. And on my alerts, I notify in my phone app, pop up on my computer, play a sound on my computer. And I use this one frequently, 3 notes reverb. So that's how you do a price alert. I prefer indicator alerts on the 15-minute chart. So I'm going to bounce over there and see what we got going. And I like to use this RTI. I've been using this for a few months now, the relative trend index, similar to the RSI, the relative strength index, but a bit more precise. And on my dips and retraces, I look for the RTI to dip below this 20 and then come back to get in a long position, dip and a return. On a leveraged short position, I look for to break above the 80 and then to dip down, kind of like this situation here. And that way I can set alerts on both directions. If you're trading spot, if you're fairly new, you just want to catch long positions, you can do that by setting an alert like this, right click, cross up on the 20. If you put once per bar close, it'll stay on until you turn it off. And AA score, and you know the rest. So if you click on this one, you won't get any message when it dips below the 20, but when it comes back out, that's when the message triggers. And that's frequently a dip sequence starting to recover, and those are some of the best entries. If you want to trade both directions, that 80 cross and then a dip, you can enter a channel. This will streamline your alerts a little bit. 80 on top, 20 on the bottom, once per bar close, and that'll catch both directions. Okay, now what I've been doing lately on the trend approach is when I might catch that 20, pick up on 1%, then if it breaks over the 50, pick up another 1% or stay in it for a while, whatever you want to do. As you can see, it broke above the 50. Pull out my vertical line here on Sunday, and then got a really nice move up after that break above the 50. Broke below the 50 today, right about here. And that was recent, so we don't have a significant move. Just right at 1%. So I've been trading this on Bybit or something like that, I could have had a nice quick little day trade on that one. And to catch those kind of moves, right click on the RTI, add an alert. If you want to go both directions, you choose crossing the 50. That'll trigger either direction. If you're spot trading and you just want to catch it going up, click on the crossing up 50 as well. Once per bar close if you want it on all day, and you know the rest. And when I'm doing the 50, I'm going to use my cumulative delta as confirmation. So when I have the break above 50 here, I've got a few bars down here telling me, yeah, that's a go. So, and when I've got the breakdown over here, I've actually got better confirmation on the downside, quite a few red candles showing me that this is trending down. And that continues, even after the entry. So that's how I do that one. Any questions on CFX? Okay, that was an AA score alert. I will also sometimes sort by social activity, short-term sentiment. Also, these are day trades as well. And then for my swing trades, I've been using the long-term sentiment for that. So let's go ahead and look at long-term sentiment. And this is what people are talking about online. It's just a little bit longer time frame than the short-term sentiment. You can hover over this question mark and figure out what these are actually, to what they are referring. I match up the long-term sentiment with the Elder Impulse Daily. And this is a technical indicator. When they both match, then that's something I want to look at with some in some more detail. So API 3, I think that is in Coinbase, but it's already 15%. CFX we just looked at. RLC, it's been a while since I've traded that one. Radium. So I'm not really seeing anything on the long side that I'm really interested in. And that'll happen sometimes. So let's go over to social activity and storage. This is one I trade a lot, but it's up almost 15% already. Fire on both social activity and trading activity. That might be one. Let's go ahead and look at that one. That one might be played out, but sorry, I'm skipping around. Okay, quick look at the 5. Yeah, kind of squeezing together. Did have a little dip here with a little bit of a squeeze and a bubble, but really only one dip. And we're close to the red zone on the 5-minute. Don't really like that. If you want to put a price alert down here in the green zone, that could be worthwhile if it dips again, get a better entry. Oh, got a big pump here on the 15. I think we're going to be seeing some things, some other charts like this with the Bitcoin's pump today. If Bitcoin goes up 2.5%, sometimes the altcoins will go up 2, 3, 4, 5 times that. So the 50 approach on this, on a trend trade, kind of all over the place. Yeah, this can be frustrating. These alerts would have gone off constantly because it's just putzing around the 50. That can happen no matter where you set your RTI alerts. If you set them at 20, it did some of that too. It was bouncing between the 20 and the 50 until it took off. And that happened late last night. So on this one, I think I would eventually the dip below the 20 did pump. And we haven't had a dip below the 80 yet. So if you want to short this, that's an option. This could be played out as far as the move goes. And since we're up in the red zone, that's where you want to short. You don't want to short down here. So you could set that exit, entering a channel. If you want to trade both directions with an 80-20. If you want to catch that move above the 50, crossing up on the 50. And then when that alert goes off, check with your cumulative delta. And yeah, I don't know if I'd want to buy. I'd probably want to see a retrace down here to at least this level, around here, around 67 cents. Yeah, it gives us some room to hit the red zone again as our take profit. Okay, any questions on storage? Okay. We will look at one more Altcoin Alert sort before we head to iCoinPro. We haven't really talked about this before, but if I don't see what I'm looking for on the long-term sentiment, I will sort it the opposite. I'll look for bearish, because not only is it telling me something's trending down, but it might be trending down and due for a comeback. So either way, I could make that low entry. It just depends what the chart's telling me. I'm looking for Altcoin Alert to let me know what's moving, and then I'll take it from there. It's usually how I use it. We've got bearish on KNC. This is something I trade sometimes on both the long-term sentiment and the daily. Uh, Bitcoin Cash, Algo. So these are some older projects. Let's look at KNC. And we will go over to the swing trade setup. See what we get on the, yeah, despite it telling it's telling us it's bearish and we're pretty close to the red zone. So, if you're a leverage trader, I want to put an alert on the super trend, catch that sell. And then when that alert goes off, see if you're still up here in the red zone or close to it. And you can look at some of these other indicators that I like. We talked about Annie's ribbon before. If that's all turned red like this, then that might be a good entry on a short. I want to find a long for the spot traders. So I'm going to break away from KNC and look at some of these other options. Mina. I think Mina is on Coinbase. And we got a winner. Okay, Mina. We're in the red zone though on the 1 hour chart. Don't like that. Where is it on the 15? Probably pretty close as well. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything I like yet. It's a swing trade. Algo. That's the other one. Oh, we got a little more room to move here. Well, maybe not. Well, this is a bit risky, but if you want to get in this, I wouldn't do this. No. How I would approach this on pretty much all the ones we looked at is do an alert on the super trend for a buy. So what'll happen is it'll go as far as it's going to go. Then eventually a sell will print, and then another buy will print probably tomorrow or late tonight or tomorrow, and then that'll be the entry you want to look at. So let's look at an example of that. Yeah, sell here. Let's say you're looking at this. It's like, I don't want to get in there. Then you set another buy. Okay, cool. Let's get in down here. So you had to wait from, Monday the 15th. That's a long wait. I probably wouldn't have done that. That's a week. Well, there's nothing wrong with setting an alert and leaving it and being patient. So obviously that's a great entry if you wait 8 days. I'm usually not that patient. Some of you guys might be. So, that would have been a great entry on that algo trade, and you'd be in right about here. And 5% in 2 days, that's a pretty good trade. Sorry, it's not a great example, but it's the best I can do with what I have to work with. So, any questions on algo and this swing trade setup? Okay. Anything else on Altcoin Alert before we head over to iCoinPro? Okay, the last time I looked at iCoinPro, it wasn't really showing me much of what I wanted. So let's revisit this. I was on this about an hour ago. And with the way the market's been pumping, when I sort the RSI SPY, looking for values 30 and lower, I don't have any. So the closest is the dusk USDT, which is almost 40, which isn't something I would usually look at. And then the rest of these are closer to 50. So I can reverse this sort and look for possibilities to short. And then sometimes when I set those alerts where I have in mind to short, it'll show me a good place to get in on a retrace. So, oh, I have a chat message. Okay, Marshall wants to know which super trend I'm using. That's a good question. Doesn't really. I use I've used the one by Kevon O and Everget. I think they're both pretty similar. So, and yeah, I don't think I did much with these. The style I might have changed some, taking out some of these filling things. I go over my chart setups in more detail on that overview video that I send out on Mondays. If you're on my email list, you should be able to get that. It's either in that video or there's a link in the description to another video. So anyway, if you want more details on how I set up charts, that's where to find it. Okay, back to the RSI SPY. Instead of looking for values below 30, since we don't have any, I'm going to look for those above 70 and maybe catch something that way. ADA, it's kind of slow. I'm not a big fan of that one to trade as a day trade, but it might be the best I have. SUI has been pumping. Let's look at that as a spot trade. Let's see, just look at the chart. I know it's on Coinbase. This one's been interesting. Nearly each buy entry on Supertrend has been at least somewhat profitable. There've been some, you might do some additional entries, but this buy here, went up 6%. This buy here, went to 3%. If you stayed in it longer, maybe you pick up an additional purchase down here, then you catch this move up here to 15%. That would have been ideal. Or you get in at this entry point. And the latest, super trend here on the buy side, up 11%. So on this one, I think I'll do this one myself. I'm just going to add an alert on super trend, buy once per bar close. This was RSI SPY. And I'll keep that notification that way. And then if this goes off, I'll probably trade this on Coinbase later. So let's see where we are on this. Yeah, we're at all-time high. So I didn't know that. So maybe, yeah, what's going to happen is it's going to dip, a sell will print, and then the buy will print later. So your buy is probably going to be in this vicinity if it goes the way it has been, higher highs and higher lows on the on SUI. SUI. So that's my approach on that one. Any questions on SUI? Okay, Let's look for just a basic day trade off iCoinPro. If we have to short, we will. And we'll go ahead and go with the ADA at 75. Go over here to our day trading setup. Take a quick look at the 5. That's not a good, that's terrible for the 5. Maybe do a price alert down here on 48.8. The 15 had that big pump this morning when Bitcoin got frisky. So yeah, I like an alert at the 50. This one did well, at least eventually. Yeah, it didn't at first, then it dipped. Might have taken additional purchase here and then caught this move up, which would have been a really good trade. And we haven't broken back down from this yet. See, last time we went above the 80 and then dipped back down was right about here. And went against this a little bit. Yeah, I would have got my 1% in about 12 hours, give or take. So that's a good trade for me. If you're trading the same way, you know, that 1%, 10x leverage, pile those up. And then we get a break down below the 20 and back up right here. And eventually pick up that 1% pretty quickly. If you stay in longer, obviously you get this big move here, 7%. So on the spot side, your alert, you can leave it on the 50 if you want to cross over the 50 and match that up with your cumulative delta on a trend trade. If you want to trade both directions, 80-20. Once per bar close, leaves it on all day, and you take it from there. Okay. Any questions on ADA? Okay, we'll do one more on the iCoinPro page. Let's look at the Buddy Coin Crawler. It's the other source I like to use on this page. And this, I'm sorting by the average load of the SMA. SMA lines, that red line you see between the green Bollinger Bands on my charts. Low is a 24-hour low. So when I see, I'm looking for 4% or higher, give or take, and that tells me something's moving that day. So we've got OGN, which is something I've traded for many years off and on. So let's check that one out. Good old OGN. I traded this as a spot trade quite a bit in 2020, 2021. So bring up that Coinbase chart. And oh, this is nice. Yeah, we've got plenty of room to go back. This was a big spike and then an immediate drop though. This is kind of wary as far as relying on this for a retrace, but it's the best info we've got at the moment. So on the 1 hour, we've got, 12% up to the red zone. I like that. We've got a buy that just printed about, well, that's from this morning. So we did miss about a 2.5% move. But this one looks pretty good as say a swing trade for a day or two. See if you can get it back up to the red zone. We were up there on the 20th. So a little over a week ago. So that has potential. And then match that up with Annie's ribbon or some other, some other secondary indicator. You could even load your, you could load this guy here, the cumulative delta, on your swing trading layout if you want, and rely on that. A little less cluttered than Annie's ribbon. So Yeah, right click on here. Get that trend, super trend buy next time it goes off. Go ahead and jump in, or you go in kind of small now and leave some additional funds to do an additional purchase if it dips, and hopefully you catch that move back up to 19 cents. Okay. Any questions on OGN, the origin protocol? Okay. Any questions on anything we've talked about? Altcoin Alert, iCoinPro, any coins you want to look at? You guys are super quiet today. All right, well then I'll wrap it up here. If you're watching on the recording, I appreciate that. Hope to see you live next time. Check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. They help support the channel. Everyone else, you guys have a great week, and we will see you on Friday. Bye.